Hi everyone, Microsoft Loop is here and in public preview. It's made for real-time collaboration if you have a brainstorming session, marketing or project planning, team decision, meeting notes, issue tracker, stand-up meeting or product development. This tool is perfect for all these use cases. It's a new way of working so you and your team can think, plan and create together from anywhere and stay in the loop. Microsoft Loop is available with your Microsoft personal and business account. In your organization, it's turned off by default. But don't worry, I'll show you in a bit how to turn it on. Let's get started. Here I am on this website which explains you how you can turn on Microsoft Loop for your organization. If you don't have, of course, a Microsoft personal account, because in that case Microsoft Loop is already available. But if you are an organization and if you have Microsoft 365, you have to turn on this app. And here in this website that you can find in the description of this video, it's described what to do to turn on this app. So let me summarize what I have done to turn on this app so we don't need to go through the documentation. You can skip this chapter if you want to see in action immediately Microsoft Loop. Alright, I am here in Microsoft Azure. I am in the Active Directory and this is basically the Azure portal, the description behind my Microsoft 365 tenant. What I've done here is basically create a new dynamic group, which is a very nice way to keep the membership of a group updated without doing a manual activity on it. So all you need to do is just watch how data and member are synchronized. So I created here this group, for example, called Everyone. It is a security dynamic group, as we can see here. If I click on this, I defined for this group a rule which allow me to get all my internal users, only internal. So it means that all my colleagues in my company are in this group. So this will give me the chance to use this group and to turn on Microsoft Loop for all users in my organization. You can follow other different approaches if you want. If you are planning to make a pilot phase for Microsoft Loop, you can also create a static security group or a dynamic security group, and then you can just drop in some users. And now let me go on this other tab that I have here. I am here on this URL config.office.com. Here is the place where you have to get access as admin, because here what we have to do is create a new policy under customization and policy management. What I've done here is creating a new policy called loop. You can do the same, for example, and let me open now this policy. When you create a new policy, you have to define the name, you have to give a description, and then here, exactly here, you have to add your group. As you can see here, I added the Everyone group that I created before. And if I go further, I have the 3 policy here on top of my list. You have to search for loop and you will get these 3 policies. Then you have to select one by one and then in the drop down you have to target enable it. Once you have done that, you can click on the button next and then you can update or save if it is the first time that you are going to create this policy, and then finally publish. Then Microsoft Loop after a couple of hours more or less will be available for the users that are in this group. Let's see now Microsoft Loop in action. Let's open this other tab that I have opened here. The URL that you have to open is loop.microsoft.com, and this drop you in the first get started page of Microsoft Loop. Here I have my summary and I have my getting started workspace that you will find the first time that you will run Microsoft Loop. This is a very nice way to start and play with Microsoft Loop, and it is also easy to explain you how Microsoft Loop is composed. So first of all, I'm going to click now on this Getting Started. This Getting Started is a workspace. A workspace, it's an area that you can create. Let's say that you want to use Microsoft Loop for your project, or you want to use Microsoft Loop for your meetings, for your brainstorming, or to push a product. For many things you can use Microsoft Loop. When you have this thing in your mind, you can start to create, first of all, your workspace. Here I have this workspace already open, and now what I can do is explore every page that I have here. So for example, I can open this page, welcome, and here I have some content inside. If I go down, I have this other page, check the basics, and here I can expand this page. I can see that there are subpages, create a component, get the mobile app. So this is very nice because Microsoft does use it, basically this Getting Started workspace, to explain you how to use and start to play with Microsoft Loop. Here I have Get Inspired, Send Feedback. Now we are going to start from scratch to create our workspace. Okay, first thing to do is go on Loop, on the banner, on the logo, and then here you can hit the button plus. And now let's start to create our workspace. Now let me set a cover. Here in the gallery you have a lot of samples. You can select random and Microsoft will pick up an image for you. So let me set now an image that I want to use for my product, for the launch of my product. I'm going to set this one. Here I have to select an emoji, and I want to talk about a drone. I don't know if I have a drone emoji, no, but maybe we can pick up a rocket. And now in my title I'm going to type Project Drone X. Let's click on the button Create, and now I created my workspace. And let me start with the first page. So I can use this page to explain briefly what is this project. Down below I have several templates that I can use. There is project brief, team decision, project planning, meeting notes. So let me click now on this link, explore other examples. This is pretty nice. I have a lot of example. In the first one, project brief, for example, I can see what I really need for my case. I can mention my project. I can talk about the project, a short overview, what are the goals of this project, team members. This is really perfect for me, but as you can see, there are many other templates that you can reuse. Don't reinvent the wheel, but reuse and readapt. Now let me select use this template, and now that I have selected this one, I have of course always the ability to change every content here on this page. The project is, as I mentioned it before, is Drone X. Now here I have some content. I can add my collaborators, and for example, this is a typical use case where I can use @ so I can mention my colleagues by going on @ I will mention Adele Events, for example, then I will mention Diego Siciliani, and the last one, which is Nestor. Alright, I added all my colleagues. Here we go, I added additional data, and let me focus on this column, core working hours. Of course, you have always the ability to rename the header of a column. I can add, for example, per week, working hour per week. Then I can decide to change the column type or insert something. Here, for example, I can say that this is not a text column, but it is a number column. So let me hit this, And here I have an advice that this will remove all my data inside, but now I can re-add something inside, and let me see if this works. As you can see, I have predefined functionality according to the column type that I selected. Moreover, I can click on this drop down and display the sum, the average, or the count. It's really up to you. You have many other column type, for example, date, person, voting. You can add a label. You can see, for example, the progress. You can mark an item as done or completed or in progress or on hold. It's really up to you how to customize this table. Down below I have additional components like this other one, project deliverables. This is also absolutely important. Here you can mark the main things to do with this project. You can assign a task to a specific person. There is the due date, and this is a calendar component. It's very friendly to use. I have my calendar here. I can set one date, for example, and this is how really it works. On top of every component, you have extra capabilities. You have the ability to sort. You have the ability to hide some column that I have here. You have the ability to expand the component in order to take the full space of your page in terms of horizontal space. And here if I click on these buttons, this is very important. I can make this component as a loop component. So I can create this as a loop component. Now that I have done this, theoretically, I can reuse this component everywhere. So I can take this URL. It's important that you define the right permission down below. With this URL, people that are going to open the URL will have edit rights. Now, what I'm going to do is open my Outlook. I'm going to click on New Email. And now I'm going to involve Adele Events. I'm going to paste this component, and automatically this is rendered properly. Just by pasting a URL, you have the component rendered in the body of your email. How cool is this? So I'm taking a little portion of a page in my workspace in Microsoft Loop, and I'm pushing this component outside. So this is a nice way that you have to collaborate, to cross-collaborate with your colleagues. You can grant access to specific page, specific components or workspaces, and then you can involve external users or partners to provide information. Here, for example, I can say checkout. Now I can send this email, and now let's see from an Adele Events perspective how it looks, this component. Here we go in Outlook as Adele Events. I received the email coming from Giuliano, and now if I click on the email, the component that I shared is rendered. So I can see that Giuliano is working on this component, has this file open. So now I can start to collaborate in sync all together and providing additional information. Now let me go back on the Giuliano perspective. More specifically, I'm going to open Microsoft Loop again. All right, let's see now additional things that we can do. In the left side navigation, what I'm gonna do now is to create a subpage. So let's say that I want to create a subpage. So to do that, you have to go on the ellipsis button, new subpage, and now under this page, I can start to work with other things. So I'm going to select this other template. This is the project planning. If I click on the cover, I can change the image. Let me select another one. Let me go with this one, for example. Let's click the button select, and now I have this one. Here I can replace this emoji if I want. Here I have some things already added. I have just to replace the content, but as you can see, I have many things already created. In the side navigation, I can add another page on the same level of the first one, Project X. Now I don't want to restart from scratch. I'm going to reuse this template. Let's see all things and components that we can add. Just down below, you have two ways to mention things or to add new components. Don't get lost. I have a PowerPoint presentation called in this way, and I'm mentioning the title. So now my PowerPoint is embedded in this page. Imagine that you have an important presentation related to this product. So it makes totally sense to add here your PowerPoint presentation. Now, if I type slash, for example, I get access to all the components that I can add in this page. I can add a header, I can add a table, a checklist, a bullet list, a numbered list. I can add a divider, for example. Let's say that I want to create a new section. So let me type again slash so I can get access to additional components. I have this other section, templates. I can add a voting table, a progress tracker. So let me go with the voting table. I added now the voting table. So I can provide ideas, and then I can rate this idea, and then I can see the number of people that votes for specific ideas. Let me click on the button new to add new records. I can go on the specific row. I can then drag and drop the row. So all these capabilities are out of the box part of Loop, and it's pretty cool. I can drag and drop a column. I can rearrange the order. It's really up to you how you want to deal with these components. Let me add a new one. For example, typing slash, I can add under communication, I can add an emoji. Or I can add a person. So let's say that I want to highlight some person for this project. Let me go down. So here I can click again using my mouse or my keyboard, and I can add another component. I can add an image. I can add a specific date. I can add a label. So here there is off track, in progress, completed. I have already some label in. Let me type on off tracks. I added now this label down below, and now I can just type something. Here all these topics are out, and then I can add additional component. Now I have my page here, and instead of sharing a single piece, a single component of this page, I can share the full page. And to do that, I'm going to click on the button share. So here I can see who has access to this page. I can copy, or I can limit access. For example, I can say that people can only view this page and not edit. So I can add anyone, I can add people in my organization, or I can say that I can involve extra collaborators to work on this page. It's really up to you how you prefer to work with people. Now, if you want, you can embed this full page. You can embed this full page in something in Outlook or in Microsoft Teams. Let's try now to embed this page. Can you believe where I am here? I am in my whiteboard. And here I have just a whiteboard already created called the proof of concept, POC. What I'm going to do here right now is to pasting this URL that reference to the loop page. I can click now on the button insert, and look how cool is this. I embedded my loop page directly in the whiteboard. It makes perfectly sense if I want to brainstorm on something during a meeting in a whiteboard and then link a specific page of my project. So this is a wonderful way that you have to work with colleagues. You can do the same in Microsoft Teams. So if you go in a chat, for example, let me go in a group chat that I have with Adele, Diego, and Nestor. And now what I can do is just pasting the URL that I copied before, and voila, I have my loop page embedded here in this group chat. So it's very, very cool. It doesn't matter where you are. But if I may suggest you something, it's good if you can stay on loop, because the main idea of having a loop is to aggregate more information that you can't, instead of jumping across tools. You have this option, but don't abuse this option. Otherwise, you have always this feeling that you have to switch across tools and application. And then in the long term, it's not very great as user experience. Another important thing to call out here is the version history. Let's say that I want to restore a previous version of my page. To do that, you have to go on the ellipsis button here between the share button and your profile picture, and you will find and notice version history. Here it gives you have the chance to restore a previous version, and it's very nice because this fantastic way of real-time collaboration unfortunately can bring also unexpected things and content to be added, and it's nice to go back or roll back on a specific version. Now, let me show how you can share a workspace. Let's say that my workspace is ready to go, as I don't want to work as an only member on this workspace. I have one member here, as you can see. I can just click on the one member here and then invite additional users. I can type, for example, Adele, then I can click on the button invite, and now Adele Events will have access to my workspace. You have another way to do that. You can click on the logo loop, and then you can go on the ellipsis button of this workspace. You can click on members. I can see that now we are 2 working on this workspace, and I can, for example, add Diego, and I can add Nestor. All right, I can click on the button invite. Now the invitation is already sent. I can reopen now my workspace. I can see that we are 4 members. Here I am now connected as Adele Events in a Microsoft Loop. I can see that Giuliano is working on this page. I am already on this page. And the nice thing that you have here is also the ability to send reaction and interact with the specific part of a loop page. For example, here let's say that I love this component added by Giuliano. As Adele, I can add a heart. I love this part of this page, or I can scroll down, and here if I go over something, I can say let's add more rows here, and now every other user will see this comment that I added. Alright, we have seen in this video Microsoft Loop in action. If you enjoyed this video, please consider to subscribe, like, and add a comment down below. Let me know, what do you think about Microsoft Loop? Are you ready to stay in the loop? I hope to see you next time. Bye.